Malachi 3:16. And this was something we quoted a lot at the beginning. It was, then those who feared the Lord spoke to one another, and Jehovah gave attention and heard it, and a book of remembrance is written before him for those who fear the Lord and who esteem his name. And he wants to get the point across us when we come together for fellowship, not talking about the Super Bowl, not talking about this or that, but talking about him, just how much he likes that, how much that pleases him. And that's what we're doing here. And then now the next question is, well, what about the times that we're in? What's going to happen to us? Well, he answers that in the next verse. They will be mine. These are the people who are speaking often about him, says the Lord of hosts, on the day that I prepare my own possession, and I will spare them as a man spares his own son who serves him. That's God's protection. And now the next verse is for us in this age of apostasy to tell the wheat from the tares. It's a simple formula. It's so simple that it's almost scary. It's this. So you will again distinguish between the righteous and the wicked. Because the wicked aren't talking often about them. They're just there to have a good time, follow their own lust and pleasures. Between the one who serves God and the one who does not serve him. Okay? So he's given us one of the tests. The ones who are getting together often, speaking about him, the ones who are upholding him. He's writing the book of remembrance. That's one of the tests for the wicked. And it's not just, everybody knows Christianese in the church, right? The little slang phrases we all say and stuff. And then we go somewhere and we, party or whatever. And I'm not even talking about immoral partying, but then we pull out that plastic Jesus. Take him along. Because he approves, the greatest good for this plastic Jesus is that you are happy and you have fun. That's his greatest good. It has nothing to do with holiness. Nothing to do with holiness, unfortunately. So, we live in really interesting times. So, we are now at a point that I kept saying, wait till we get to the Shmita Countdown. Remember that? I would say that. We are now at the Shmita Countdown. Every single thing in the Bible that I come across points to 2030 for his second coming. Everything. I could be wrong. It could be contrived, but you guys have to decide. And if that's true, if 2030 is the second coming, what does that mean? Yeah, 2023 is the rapture. 7, this all represents Shmita cycles, okay? What's a Shmita cycle? 7 years, right? And what's a Shmita? The 7th year, right? And so this is really, so you have 7 years, just like you have 7 days. The 7th year is a Sabbath, just like the 7th day is a Sabbath. It's called the Shmita. It's a year of Deuteronomy 15:1, year of release. Release the prisoners, release people from debt, all that stuff. Yeah, the slaves. Yeah, not prisoners, the slaves. Okay, so you got 7 years, and that is the Shmita right there. And so you got 7 of these. This is a Jubilee cycle. Okay, and what is the Jubilee cycle? How many years? And 50. It's both. I think both are going. So we have the Shmita cycles, the first one, 6th one. We, right here, that's where you remember you are here now at the mall? Yeah. That's where we're in the 6th cycle in a Shmita year. That's where we're at right now. And then if I'm correct, we will be raptured on Rosh Hashanah, okay? Now remember, I went through and I had to retrace everything. This wasn't on the internet for the new Shmita cycle. Everybody thought 2022 is the end of the Shmita year. No, it's not. It's this year. And I could trace it through on that last one, on that last handout, all the crashes every 7 years. Not only that, if I'm correct, the greatest worldwide economic crash has to happen this year. See, I didn't just come up with that right now because that's obvious. It's like, that no fake, Sherlock. Of course it's going to come. So this is the Shmita cycle. Here's where we're at right now. And my thing is, did God give us a warning in sevens, the exact number of years of the Shmita? The sevens appear in certain cycles to warn us about how many were left. Shmita cycles were left. Well, let's take a look. In 2008, okay, right here, the stock market crashed by how many points? Yeah, 777 points. That's kind of significant. Now, see, to me, I looked at that, and that told me, what that is saying to me is there's 3 Shmitas left. 1, 2, 3. Okay, interesting. It was the largest drop in points in its whole history of 112 years. And it's exactly 777. That's, like I say, there's no such thing as coincidence. Okay, now, the 3 sevens, point to the return or the coming of Yeshua. Okay, now get this. King of Kings and Lord of Lords in Hebrew. You know what it adds up to? Yep, 777. Get that? Now get this. Revelation 19:16 says this. And he has on his vesture and his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That's in direct reference to his second return. So that phrase, King of Kings and Lord of Lords, is in direct reference in Revelation 19. I mean, I came across this stuff today. I was just looking at it, it's like, oh gosh, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. I'm going to look up that verse, Revelation 19:16. So it points, 777 points directly to his second return, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Like, okay, that's probably a coincidence. So we're going to see the 7-7 return, and he's going to take out, guess what? The 666. So that's one of the markers, 777, the biggest, and again, we're talking about economic things, okay, in this case. So now we see right there, okay, the 7-7 stock market crash right there. The fourth Shemitah indicating 3 are left. Now we go to the next Shemitah cycle. Was there 2 sevens that appeared? Anybody remember? I actually gave you a handout back in summer on this, okay? It was, nope. It was the cows that appeared with 7s on their forehead. How many cows were there? 2. Indicating, right, and these are not footprints, these are the cows' heads. And they had 7s both on their forehead, indicating, guess what? 2 Shemitahs left. Okay, I'm going to give you the next one after this, but listen closely. Now that's tied, get this, you have to follow closely. Pharaoh in Genesis 41, okay, had a dream. Remember the dream? No. 2 sets of 7 cows, 7 fat and well fleshed, 7 that were lean, okay, and skinny. And it said that the lean and skinny ones ate the big and well fed ones, right? So 2 sets of 7 cows he has. And that's kind of, interesting because that ties in directly with this, okay? When they appeared in 2014, the 2 cows with 7s on their forehead appear, and I have pictures of them in the handout. Okay, so in fact, I'll probably give you that in a second. In Pharaoh's dream, 2 sets of 7 cows, so they're appearing together. Now, get this: the first cow went viral on what date? In 2014 on Rosh Hashanah. The second cow was So one went viral on that date in 2014, and the other one was born on 2014. They're both connected with Rosh Hashanah. It's like, wow, okay, that's kind of interesting. Now, here there is a connection with Pharaoh's dream. According to the Talmud, Pharaoh's dreams of the cow and the release of Joseph from prison both occurred on Rosh Hashanah. And now one went viral on Rosh Hashanah. So there's all these connections, I think, that God has given to us. Now, just so you have the picture, again, at least Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year, 7th month, first day, but it's really what feast? The Feast of Trumpets. There you see. Now you see that's not very obscure. There really is a 7 on their forehead. That's pretty clear. Okay, 2 cows, and one, get this, was a red heifer. Whoa. Well, I'm going to get to that. Okay. So one's a red, and I'm going to tell you why. One was black and white, and one was a red heifer. They both point to something. Okay. So first question is, why 2 cows? Okay. Because 2 means established. Listen to Genesis 41:32. This is back with Pharaoh's dream. And for the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice, is because the thing is established by God. That's what Joseph told Pharaoh. You had these dreams, about the wheat and stuff, the healthy stalks and the 7 ones that weren't or whatever, and because it's established. That's why there's 2 cows. It's established. Okay, 2 is also the number of 2 or 3. Yes, it's a number of witness. So it means something's established. When it's repeated like that, it means there's a witness. So the 2 cows up here, both with 7. Okay, that happened in the Jewish year of 5775. Okay?
What happened?
The cows yeah, on that Rosh Hashanah date. And then it becomes the year 5775. One was born on that date, the other went viral on that date. Okay. It wasn't, it hit the internet and everybody started knowing about it. Okay. Now, of course, 7 is on their forehead. That's the exact number of a Shmita. Okay. Now, 5, okay, so let's see, 2 5s. So there's 2 5s involved. 5 days, okay, after the first cow was born, it went viral. So it took 5 days for it to be viral. So 5 days before Rosh Hashanah, it was born, then 5 days later it was viral. So there's 5 days there. And then 5 days, the other one was born. So there's 2 5s there. And guess what? They both have 7s on their forehead. That's 2 7s. Ooh, look at that. 5775. 2 5s and 2 7s there.
That's the Jewish year.
Yeah, that's the Jewish year, pointing to Rosh Hashanah. And all this is happening. Okay, now I want to talk about the heifer's colors. Okay, get this. Now, one was black and white. All right. From the year 2000 on, has that become an issue? Black and white?
Yes.
Yes. They've played that up. So one cow was black and white. And from 2000 on, they made that a big issue to create division. Okay. And then with the...
Division for what?
Because they want... Yes, create tensions because they know united, they can't come against us. They have to divide us. They have to create these crises. They want crises. They want food shortages. They want all that because they're going to come in with the solution, like that brain implant. Okay? So we can remove all the bad guys and get this thing straightened out. All right. So, and then we had the red heifer. So that points from that time on. Now, the red heifers arrived in Israel in September of 2022. That points to the temple. They still have it. Remember, the 5 red heifers go to Israel in September, right around Rosh Hashanah, and they arrive in Israel. There's 2 cows with 2 7s on their forehead, right? 7 plus 7 equals 14. That's very significant if you're Jewish and you're looking at it. Okay? Because,
14 cows in Pharaoh's dream.
I'm sorry?
14 cows in Pharaoh's
Yeah,
dream.
14 cows in Pharaoh's dream. Plus, that's the gematria of somebody really famous. And yes, very good. King David. That's why in Matthew, guess how many generations there are? 3 times 14.
20. Oh, really?
And a Jewish person would look at that. There's 42 generations, 3 times 14, and they will see the fingerprint of King David on there. And Jesus is called the greatest son of David. So the 14 itself points to Jesus. The first cow, the black and white cow, I think it was. Which one? No, it was the red heifer, I think was first. Anyway, the first cow, they have what they call the ugly 7. And then the second cow, okay, they have the beautiful 7. Okay. No, it's actually the ugly one. Yeah. No, the beautiful one came first and the ugly one came. And so what the rabbis say is, what that is saying, there's going to be 7 good years followed by 7 terrible years. What does that 7 terrible years sound like? The tribulation. And we're pointing to, it happened here, and we're pointing to the last 2. Relatively speaking, these 7 years, they're going to be heaven compared to what's coming up. So the 7 on the ugly cow, and then next came the beautiful 7. Or excuse me, first came the beautiful 7, then the 7 ugly 7, which is the tribulation period. And that's, again, looking at it from a rabbinic point of view. So everything just kind of, as you tear it apart, points to something to me. I just think that somewhere a 7 is going to appear this year before Rosh Hashanah. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but I think it's a perfect countdown right here. The 3 7s, the 2 7s, which are obvious things. You know what I'm saying? Out there, everybody could see it. And there's going to be another 7 that appears this year, in my opinion. Okay? So, and it won't be something you have to really search for, like the 7-Eleven closed or something, you know. And the main strategy that we're saying is get close to the Lord. Put up your toys. Yeah, you can have fun and all that, but put up your toys and get real about your relationship with Jesus. Period. Get real about your relationship with Jesus. And that's our message. Is that one of the birth pangs is plagues and earthquakes and all that, okay? This is, see, people think that they read the book of Revelation, they say, okay, you know, we're good Baptists. All that stuff happens in the 7-year trib. Doesn't happen right now. It doesn't just appear out of a vacuum. Witchcraft is at an all-time peak. Churches are closing down. Are you guys getting this?
Demonic activity is huge, just like in the days of
Oh.
Jesus.
Yes.
Demonic activity has just gone off the charts.
I mean, last Sunday, somebody was asking me a question about somebody, and I go home, and there's a swarm of flying ants all on one place, which was what they were talking about. It's just, I know, it gets, a lot of stuff is happening. The spiritual battle is, and there's demonic manifestations. Probably next time I'll have, like the UFOs all play a part. Am I correct, Bill? Yeah. The UFOs, and I don't think life evolved on other planets, okay? That's not what I'm saying. But there is a lot of deception, a ton of deception going on, and we need to be aware of it. And just to say, oh, that's just demons, and then all of a sudden, a real physical craft lands, real sentient beings get off, what are you going to do then?
Right. So in response to her question, did he answer your question?
Yeah, so two fronts. It works by the New World Order using it to break down society so they can build in their own, image. And secondly, as far as biblically, it's a precursor. Oh, I didn't answer that fully. It's a precursor to the birth pangs. In other words, the birth pangs don't just all of a sudden happen in the first half of the tribulation. They even build up before then, okay? But they're going to get much worse. Yeah. So, and a lot of this is stuff that mankind has brought on himself. In other words, some of it may not be so supernatural. In other words, we're doing all this stuff. In fact, I used to hear the statistics that in 50 years, all life on earth, if Jesus doesn't come back, we're all going to be dead because of things they done. Then it became 40 years, and the last thing I heard was 10 years. So right now, if we just started doing everything right, we're all going to be dead in 10 years. Anyways, so we know it's kind of close. The good aliens would have manifested by then, the good ones. But the bad ones, or maybe the good ones took away these backward people that believe in mythology and they had to take them up to the mothership to reprogram them. No, I know that sounds like a joke, but with everything happening, does it really sound that far-fetched? No. I know the government's making it more and more clear, and they're showing footage. In fact, in Redacted, the guy that was up there, he showed this picture of the spaceship that they kept classified for years and years and years. It's a spaceship. It's pretty big and stuff. And so something is happening on that front, and I can explain. And again, I always say I looked into these things for decades. Actually, I did with UFOs. That was one of my biggies. And they used to have tons of stuff, like on YouTube. It's all disappeared for some reason. But all the good Missler stuff has. And I think he had a handle on it. But one of the main traits, and then I'll ask for any more questions, and we'll break up and pray, is, get this, the implantation and harvesting of fetuses. In other words, women who have no contact with men will wake up pregnant. Then they're abducted, and then in a few months, all of a sudden, their baby's gone. It sounds like a hybrid program. Oh, Genesis 6:4, the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and they took whoever they wanted as wives, and the Nephilim were in the earth those days. Remember what the Nephilim were? The giants. You know what Nephilim literally means? Fallen ones. They're not the fallen angels. Yeah, it's a hybrid thing. Why are they doing this hybrid thing? Is because only fully human people can be saved. So if you take, and that's why Satan did it at first place, because he wanted to make it so the Messiah could not appear. Right. And he almost succeeded. And remember, this is not like a few thousand people living on the earth. There's probably as many people on the earth in that day as there is today. And it could have been Noah as the only one. Or the 8 people on the ark could be the only ones. And Nephilim only shows up one other time. Anyone know? There's an easy way I remember this. Numbers 13:33. Well, yeah, it shows up in Jude. Talks about it. And in 2 Peter. It says, when the spies came back after seeing all these miracles of God, seeing the actual manifestation of God, remember, they came back and they were scared. Now, we have to give them some credit. We could say, well, they should have had faith. But hang on a second. They saw things that would blow us over as far as God and what he was doing, parting the Red Sea, all this. And they came back and they were scared. So Numbers 13:33, the report was, the sons of Anak were there in the promised land. And they were giants. The word is they were Nephilim. So whatever happened before the flood, where God literally had to destroy the whole planet and start over, happened again. But we know it couldn't happen today, right? Because we live in a Baptist environment. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. The reason why is my own theory is because that's where the Garden of Eden was, and Satan knew that was the promised land.
Exactly.
I believe that it was the Garden of Eden. And some people report there from Israel about underground caves or whatever, where there's this river or whatever, and strange things are happening and all this. So, and if you look at the parameters of the Garden of Eden, they did this study, some Hebraic teacher, and some of that stuff is missing, but they say, yeah, there used to be a riverbed or a river that flowed here. And right there where the Garden of Eden should be is, guess what? Israel. And Jerusalem specifically. So Satan came ahead, planted his guys there, and scared them. And it's funny, all the places they didn't drive out the enemy, the Canaanites, are all the places where the enemy today has a stronghold in Israel. If you do that study, it's like, what? The Gaza Strip? What? That was where, they didn't drive everybody out. It's amazing. Spiritual strongholds, because we are in a spiritual warfare. The only way you can fight. Okay, one last question, and then we'll break up for prayer. Anybody have a question? If not, we will break up for. Okay.
Or how about a head transplant been tried on a dog already?
Oh, them doing head transplants?
Yeah.
That was Roosevelt Greer in The Thing with Two Heads back several decades ago. So you can look that up on YouTube. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, they were way ahead of the times. It was so badly done. It was a mannequin head and stuff. Oh my gosh, it was bad. It was no, Alicia, but seriously, yeah, I would not be surprised if they could do it. They got a decade ago where they could put like something in a cat's eye or whatever, and then they could film that and see through the cat's eye exactly what. See, that's what they're going to do with us. No freedom. You can't think your thoughts. You can't have a minute alone. They want to control everything. Yeah, it's sad. It is really sad.